Hello, I'm Justin Perkins, and this is Talk Junkie, and you're getting this early. I'm not good at schedules, I know, but there's a reason for me doing this podcast and doing it tonight. Um, I'm going to start out the podcast with some emails. I'd been complaining I wasn't getting as many, and then I got a couple. I'm going to do what I got. First one is one of my favorites, and we always get emails from this guy, not as often as we'd like. He's out on the Oregon Trail, and it's hard out there. It's a rough place to be. He started emailing us at the beginning of the show and has periodically dropped us emails from time to time. And it's always good to hear from him. I actually heard him email into another podcast I listen to and one I'm on occasionally the other day, and that was cool. Um, this email, let me check, make sure that mic's working. This email comes from Bolin Cox. Was that Bolin Cox? I don't know. It's a weird spelling. It's been a long summer out here on the trail, and it's good to hear Talk Junkie is gearing back up. Out here on the trail, we just listen to older episodes again and again. Ever since your advice for little Bobby Ray Stevens Dave, he's had way more confidence when he has to relieve himself out on the trail. It's gave him the mental mobility he needed to live his life like a regular person, even though having no taint is not that hindering. I remember little, what was that name, Bobby Ray, and he didn't have a taint. I remember you pointing pointing that out to us, and that's awful. It's the small things in life that keep us going. Other than that, not much has changed. We are just out here trying to dodge dysentery. I look forward to some of your future episodes, especially the one about horror movies. My wife, Sally Jane Sue, said to tell you that she hopes you do a Christmas episode. Sally Jane knows me. I am definitely doing a Christmas episode. That is my favorite time of the year. She hopes you do a Christmas episode too, and if you do, she'll fry up a batch of her special flitters, and having a listening party for the ones who make it back home alive from winter harvest. You know how good her flitters are. Fritters, I think maybe he left out a letter. I don't know. And she only makes them for the most precious occasions. I'm glad that she would consider that a precious occasion. Well, I got to run. My horse is bucking. I got to get her to a water hole before she gets the brain rot. Good luck on your travels, sir. P.S. Don't call it a comeback. Talk Junkie never left our hearts. Thank you very much to Ball and Cox. World's greatest troll. Oh, let's see. Normal people email me. Let's see. Justin. This is an email from Justin. My name is Justin. Let's try this writing again. My name is Justin, but I'm not you. That's obvious. Made it through one episode, heard email address, figured screw it. Help this guy out. So here it goes. You're not good at this. Please stop. Thanks, best wishes, thoughts and prayers. Well, thank you, Justin. I truly appreciate that. You may really think that after this episode. Bethany emails, I found your show a few months back by chance. I've went back and listened to many episodes. I have a few questions about past shows and your opinions. Do you ever change your mind? Yeah, all the time. I may do a podcast today and then tomorrow I'll decide that I don't feel that way any longer. I think that's healthy. I think if you get new information, you should change your mind. Are you a white male or do you identify another way? I am Caucasian and I am a male. I don't know if I'm supposed to say something else there or I don't know how you identify Bethany. That is generally a female name. If it's not, send me a message and I'll correct that. But I'm not going to refer to you in any way because I don't know what you identify as. I guess. What area are you from? Hence the accent. I am from Eastern Kentucky, and I do have a pretty thick accent. And I've been told in emails and other various things that that accent will prevent me from being taken seriously and having a lot of followers. So we'll see. Good. I don't know. Do you ever say things you don't really believe to get listeners? No, not. That is to say, I don't say, "Hey, I believe in this," because I know a lot of people do. Um, would I say like I'm going to do something about something and it's going to be pro that thing, and then when you actually listen to the episode, it's not? Yeah, because I kind of think that's fun to bring people in, but no, I wouldn't represent myself as believing it as I've done the actual podcast. Why do an episode on bad language when you don't use it? Why do you not use it? Um, because I think you should be able to say whatever you want. Uh, and I think it's an interesting topic, and I really had fun doing that episode and getting your email. I think that was the episode I shared for today on the Facebook, and it's at Talk Junkie on Facebook. Um, but I don't use bad language. Just I listen to a lot of podcasts. Um, there's a lot of those podcasts I couldn't listen to while I was in the vehicle with my son, because I don't want him saying words that are not socially acceptable until he understands what that word is. And he may never say it. I don't really cuss in public or really cuss that much at all. I just think you have the right to do so. Um, it's not something I have to do. You may hear me cuss at some point on here. I don't put these. I do put these down usually as adult content, not for kids, even on YouTube. But I can't think of very many times I've said anything other than a small little bad word, this word or damn or something like that. But no, that's why I don't use it. Like if I want to listen to The 13th Floor, it's a podcast I listen to made by some fellow Kentuckians. I can listen to it in a car with my son in the car. I know it's going to be clean. Um, if I want to listen to, that may be about it. But like if I want to listen to Tell 'em Steve Dave, if you're familiar with any of the Kevin Smith movies or the show Comic Book Men, it's um, one of the guys from Impractical Jokers and two of the guys from Comic Book Men, all of which are good friends with Kevin Smith, been in his movies and stuff over the years. I can't really listen to that in front of my son. Can't listen to Rogan in front of my son. Uh, can't listen to Time Suck with Dan Cummins in front of my son. Raven Television Addict, not safe to listen to in front of your kids. But I still enjoy those. And that's probably predominantly what I listen to. But, I don't, if I'm in the vehicle, I hardly ever listen to podcasts if my son's there because of language. So I try to make it easier for people where they don't have to do that. Wow, Bethany, you really, sorry, I know this is rambling. I'm bored at work and had free time. LOL. BTW. I'm assuming that means by the way. I'm caught up on some of this stuff. Loved winter of 2000 show. Listened twice when I realized I could get songs on Spotify. Yes, some of these, there's not been a lot of them, but a couple episodes have had songs kind of put in. I've not checked, but I'm assuming that pops up on iTunes and you just get the audio portion of the podcast. But if you listen on Spotify, you get the entire thing. So that's what she's talking about there. P.S. You don't sound like the average metalhead. What does the average metalhead sound like? I like all music. I mean, everything from funk and R&B to old Motown stuff to classic rock, Hendrix, Clapton, the blues, rock, hard rock, metal, some rap, uh, Americana, like Jason Isbell, things like that. Some country, like Sturgill Simpson. But yeah, I would say usually most days I'm going to be like Deftones is my favorite band. I have a Deftones tattoo. That's kind of more my wheelhouse music wise, I guess. But I do bounce around with a lot of different things. I would have guessed you country based on accent or classical based on your thought process, like the show Bethany. Some country, what I consider country, not probably what a lot of people consider country. Classical's okay, but it's definitely not what I'm jamming to 90% of the time. That's usually pretty hard rock, or I mean, like I say, it can be anything, anything at all. James Brown to Slayer. I mean, Wally Gator. Uh, Wally Gator. Wally Gator says, honestly, after about 3 episodes, you are pretentious and boring. You probably won't read this, but I am just expressing that free speech. Well, Wally Gator, I read it, and I appreciate your ability to practice your free speech. And I don't really censor a lot of things, as long as it's not just so filthy or nasty. I can't read it. I'll read it. You know, if you're virtue signaling or you're trying to be super woke or super awake, I'm not going to read it more like if it's mean. But I mean, if it's just about me, I don't care what you say about me. And I love the name Wally Gator. If you didn't quit listening after those 3 episodes for some reason, you still hear this, thank you for your email. Please email back. And if you got any ideas on what I could do differently on the show, let me know. And if they don't suck and they're not pretentious, I'll give them a try. Agent Smith found you through the simulation episode. Cool ideas. Noticed you talked about it in a few more episodes. What episodes deal with that topic? I'll send you an email back. I'll have to go back and listen. I mean, like just that one episode, I covered it pretty heavy, but I did talk about it quite a bit on an episode of Here to Chew Bubblegum. It's a podcast some of my buddies have got. So check that podcast out, and we talked about it on there. Last question, gun to head, what do you really think, simulation or not? I do not think it's a simulation. I think it's a fun ideal to sit and go through that, but I don't think we actually live in a simulation. That's it for listener email. You can get up with us at talkjunkie@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram at author J Perkins. You can find me on Facebook at Talk Junkie. You can find us on YouTube, Talk Junkie. And this video will be on YouTube, but the audio will be on anywhere you can find, anywhere you can find podcasts, Spreaker, Anchor, not Spreaker, I'm no longer on Spreaker, I keep saying that, Anchor, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all those, anywhere. I don't know. I just publish it everywhere, and I don't know who did it and who didn't. I know it's for sure on Apple, and I know it's for sure on Anchor, and I know it's for sure on Spotify. If you're in service all the time, I recommend using Spotify because if I've added music and stuff in, you can kind of get that. You're obviously not going to get that music on YouTube, but the ones I do music on, I'm probably not going to be able to put on YouTube. You know, just a lot of different reasons. They probably won't even have video, and those are few and far between. But I'll probably do another one around Halloween about Halloween songs. Do one. I've been flirting with a songwriter one with having Mandy, who's coming on really soon, sooner than the advertised dates of my shows because I suck at scheduling things. But still, she is coming on. I like to do a songwriter one about her. She's real big into music as well. But check all those things out. Anywhere you go, like, subscribe, and share. I try to do that with other podcasts. I don't always do it. I don't expect you to always do it, but if you just do it every once in a while, it's like there's times I feel like nobody is listening except for a few people I know, personally. And then there's times that I'm like, well, how many people are listening? Because I get interactions like that, like those emails, I'm not going to be fake. I know who Bolin Cox is. I know him well. He prefers to stay anonymous. I have no idea who Wally Gator, Agent Smith, or the other Justin is, or Bethany. I have your emails now, but I don't know who you are. And those are people I didn't know were listening, and that's why I picked those. Malik emailed into just good shows. Glad you're doing this and that, and that was cool to hear back from him. Now, why the guy that hardly ever puts out podcasts is coming right back after a podcast saying, I'm only going to do 2 a month, blah, 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 and coming in to do a podcast. There's a reason for this. We discussed this a lot when I was a wee little talk junkie. I had hundreds of dreams and aspirations. There was always something different I wanted to be. And one of those things, quite often, was like a reporter or investigative journalist or somebody that exposes something big. I think a lot of that probably had to do with just the fact that it was somewhat writing, product placement. It's like Wayne's World. But a lot of it too is like you want to feel like you're doing something, like you've done something. A circle of people that I'm in contact with quite often starts mentioning this website to me the other day. And it's got a pretty cool story with it. And I look at the website and I see some leanings towards an organization I don't have a lot of respect for. I don't know that they're there, but it feels like that. And this, they're these people are tying these other things in with this website, and those things have a leaning that way. So I looked into it because I was like, you know, if this represents that, then I don't really want any part in it. My plan was, with all the information I found, to do a 4-part series. And I don't know when I'm going to air this. As of right now, recording it, I'm saying tonight. I may do this and change my mind, but there's a reason why I'm having to rush this. I had a gentleman scheduled to be on the show in the upcoming days. I'm doing a show pretty soon with another gentleman and going to try to get him on to my show. Both of these gentlemen are involved in this website to some degree. I have put a lot of time and effort into this. I've contacted state representatives. I've contacted Secretary of State in Washington, D.C. on business records. I've contacted building owners. I've contacted leasing companies. I've contacted newspaper reporters. I've made endless phone calls to endless fake numbers. I've tracked down addresses. I've Google searched, DuckDuckGo. I've paid for reverse lookups. I've done a ton of work. And today, some things happened that made me think that maybe I got some attention from that I wasn't really wanting. I don't really care to get it. Like, it's not like I'm scared for my life. I'm not trying to pull one of them deals. It just kind of I want to be fair and upfront with these people, but I want us to meet on common ground where I don't know exactly what they're going to say and they don't know exactly what I'm going to say, and I can ask them questions about this. I've seen this website change numerous times in the past. And with some of the communication I've got, some of the attempted communication I've got, some of the little things I've seen, and some things I've heard from some sources I've tried to contact, I've got a feeling they're going to make a change very quickly to how they're doing business. And so this isn't going to get to be the big grand 4-episode piece that I've worked so hard on with 2 or 3 interviews. It's just not going to work that way. I'm still going to attempt to do these interviews because, one, I ain't that big of a show. They may not see it or hear it. And 2, I want to give everybody the opportunity to say that I'm wrong, because that's my big thing I want to say right now is I could be wrong about all of this. I just have the information I was able to gather, and that's it. I don't know how serious these things are, and I don't know how accurate I am. I'm just telling you what I seen, and you can go from there and you can look and you can see what you think. Really, this needs some backstory. During the time when I became aware of a certain organization in the United States, I'm not going to do that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to tell you about this company. And then from there, I will go into this background because it kind of spoils it if I do it first. And I don't think it would be the right thing to do. Okay. Let me see how I can best do this. Again, I'm not tech savvy, so this is not the best method of doing this, but it's what we're going to do. I found this via other people. Can we see this? This is a site called Ingersoll Lockwood. Uh, Ingersoll Lockwood is an interesting website, to say nothing else. It changes quite often. In finding this, the reason this came up in conversation and came up in discussion was there was a gentleman named Ingersoll Lockwood, late 1800s, passed away, wrote a couple books, Adventures of Baron Trump. That's the F at the end of that P is Trump with an F. The Last President, things of that nature. A gentleman that not real well known, I guess you could say, but he is who this company is named after, their namesake, on their Our History page. We can get to that. In the late 1800s, our namesake, Ingersoll Lockwood, delivered futuristic and visionary content over a century ahead of his time. He passed on his knowledge to S.G. Samuels Sr., who started the Great Awakening plan, also known as the Plan for the New American Century, with Stephen G. Samuels, followed by our entire team, who continue to carry on this tradition today. Our mission is to build a brighter future for humanity, starting with the resurgence of American exceptionalism. I don't know if the phrase the Great Awakening is referring to the awakening like QAnon talks about. If it is, look at it kind of like this. The awakening is the right-wing conspiracy theory version of woke on the left. Not super similar in every way, but same principle. This is destroying the left. This is destroying the right. If that's what it's capitalizing quotations, the Great Awakening. If that's what it is. Now they have a mission here. We leverage what our founder called future vision, where we deliver solutions based on trade secret, predictive intelligence, team technology. Wow, struggling. TSPI, that is team technology, team secret predictive intelligence technology. A mix of futurist inventions, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, all used for the good of humanity. We communicate publicly on our own source intelligent platforms, ONSYST, as trusted media sources. It's got a couple media sources here. We unleash new technology safeguards to defend humanity from novel threats and to accelerate the Great Awakening. That phrase gets me. We market our solutions first on our own open source intelligence media platforms, then on strategic mainstream media platforms. We profit, invent, fund, license, develop, and sell. That's how they profit. They reinvest. Government, commercial, international, focus on making America truly awesome again. Like I've heard a statement pretty similar to that from the orange puffy guy one time. Ingersoll Lockwood's staff includes a unique mix of entrepreneurs, technologists, and inventors. While our team represents a diverse array of backgrounds, its members share similar traits: deep knowledge of their chosen fields, strategic vision, and a dedication our core mission, delivering solutions that address the critical technology needs of the national security community. First and foremost, our founder required that what we do most, deliver American exceptionalism, and must be made in America with pride. Then we've got a board of directors here. Stephen G. Samuels, U.S. DHS founding member and chairman. James Gorman, U.S. Navy retired Vice Chairman. James Hess, U.S. Army retired Director. James Henderson, DoD Consultant, active Director. Timothy J. Golden, U.S. Army retired Director. Paul Hemphill, U.S. Army retired Director. Al Fucino, U.S. Patriot Director. And Oliver, or Olivier, depending on how he pronounces it, Valles Esquire, Secretary of the Board of Directors. That's the website. The reason it comes up in all these conspiracy theory things is there is this conspiracy theory. When Nikola Tesla died, there was a gentleman brought in by the United States government to look at his files. He was not fully an American citizen yet, or had become an American citizen, but was of a different nationality, and his brother was a politician in that country still. And before returning those things to him, the United States government wanted to make sure that this death ray and all these things supposedly existed. He didn't have, and they weren't giving weapons over to another country. I know it seems cruel to go through somebody's stuff like that instead of give it to their family, but it's an extremely smart man, and you can't take chances. I can understand that to some degree. The gentleman they brought in, I think it was John Trump. That was former President Donald Trump's uncle, I believe, maybe great uncle. He goes through the files. Files are returned. Family claims there should have been 80 crates of files instead of the 60 they got. Conspiracy theory goes, Tesla had figured out time travel. John Trump builds time travel machine, goes back, talks to Ingersoll Lockwood, gives him all this information. Now you've got Donald Trump with his son Barron Trump and the last president. And there are a lot of weird coincidences in that book, like weird enough that you sit and go, wow, was this book faked and written in recent times? But it's not. There were some lawsuits to keep the book from coming out. But that's how this gets into this whole conspiracy theory thing. When I looked at this website, the little things like the Great Awakening plan, those pop up red flags to me. But then I start looking at their portfolio. American Education Defenders, America Health Defenders, Carbon Capture Shield. That one really interested me. I like the idea of carbon capture. Cyber Defense Awards, Cyber Defense Magazine, Cyber Defense Radio, Cyber Defense TV, Cyber Defense Webinars, Cybersecurity Magazine for Consumers, Malware Labs as a service with R&D funding from DARPA. That one's weird. Space Force Labs, Thorium Labs, venture capitalists for U.S. veterans only. When I seen this website, I thought, this is a company kind of playing off of a name and playing to 50% of the country, paying to, or probably closer to 33% of the country. I really believe there's a 33% Biden crowd and a 33% Trump crowd and a 33% inactive crowd. There's a couple of scragglers in between that. But I think, I thought they're using a namesake and they're playing off to that. Didn't pay it a whole lot of attention, honestly. Kind of just looked at it, and it's the first time I've really come across this word. Just kind of looked at it as probably being something very QAnon related. I think that one of the biggest problems we've had on the left has been Antifa, and on the right has been QAnon. And I think those two groups have kept us fighting and not really doing what we need to do as a community, And I looked at this site and I thought, it's QAnon. I have the same amount of distaste for both of those organizations. So when I thought about it possibly being QAnon or related to Q, if you don't know what QAnon is, somewhere around 2017, this guy calling himself Q Clearance Patriot pops up on 4chan and 8chan, makes a couple drops. it's really crazy. There's an excellent, and I don't have time because there's so much to get in. I don't have time to go into the whole history of Q. There's an excellent documentary on HBO called Q Into the Storm. In my opinion, it tells you who Q is at the end, and I can tie that guy back to at least supporting this website. But I get on here and I look at uh, I look at this website and I see what I think is a connection, and then a couple people I know start really getting into this, and I'm like, because right off I don't notice that. Right off I'm just like, well, this is a weird website because the website was very different than it is now. It had a countdown clock. There was all these secret links and these words. It was a fun puzzle, and I loved getting on there and just looking around. And I think these people, I think the people at Here to Bubblegum was on to this Q site before, or I'm sorry, onto this Ingersoll Lockwood site well before I ever heard it from anywhere. And I mean, they were making contact and trying to call. They never could get anybody to call them back or answer the phone. It gives you a different name besides Ingersoll Lockwood. It gives you the name of the magazine when you call that number. And finally, they did receive a phone call back, and they were able to interview someone who worked on one of the projects there. It wasn't a direct representative of the company, but worked on some of the company's projects. And it was a really good interview, and you can check that out. The gentleman's name is DJ Nicky. I will be on a podcast with him if I release this tonight. I will be on a podcast with him on the 5th September. It'll release on Here to Bubblegum. This is not a podcast about him or his carbon capture project he's doing for them. He's not on their board of trustees. He's not really, I would have to ask him first how much he knows, how much he's in contact. I do know from things I've seen about him, he very openly on YouTube and stuff. He definitely a QAnon guy, so I would assume he's pretty aware of the connections that are implied. And understand that these connections that I say are only implied on my behalf and only really vaguely referenced on theirs. This isn't me coming out and going, Ingersoll Lockwood is a Q site. If it was, then the podcast be over. The thing I noticed when I got on the Ingersoll Lockwood site was everything was about a donation. Everything. If we go in and we look at their site, it's broken down like this. They have health defenders, education defenders, carbon capture shield, DARPA funded anti-malware, and quantum encryption. Almost all of these sites, you click on them, basically what they are is, let's go to health defenders. First thing pops up on when you click on that tab. Let's go to education defenders. First thing pops up on education defenders. Let's contribute. And this gentleman that is over this, Mr. Hemphill, Paul Hemphill, has agreed to do an interview with me. And I hope this doesn't interfere with that, but I felt like I needed to get this out. Carbon captured, they're actually done. Still saying donate now. I don't know if they can, but they actually met their goal. But you could donate. But the carbon capture shield, Earth's natural defense, I haven't really looked into this, see exactly what it is. I think they may be talking about a little something different than I'm talking about. But this fundraiser for this is on GoFundMe, and it is not registered to Ingersoll Lockwood. This is registered to Darrell J. Nicky II, and he is organizing that fundraiser, and it is separate from, it is on the site and part of the site, but the fundraiser is outside of that site. It's a GoFundMe, and it was easy to trace. Some of these others weren't. The DARPA funded, that takes you to a company called Cythereal. And when you go to Cythereal, it's actually It's actually a program, so it's not got a donation. This sucks this way. It doesn't have it's basically something called Magic that extracts malware. It's not a donation site. Quantum encryption. If you go to quantum encryption, it takes you to a company called XSOC Corp. They make data production tools, things of that nature. Again, they're selling something. They are not taking a donation. A lot of these sites are. So you've got the DARPA and the malware they're selling. Carbon Capture Shield, Education Defenders, and Health Defenders are taking up donations. Let's talk about Ingersoll Lockwood, because it's you've got a historical name, you've got this website that is endlessly fun, but Ingersoll Lockwood, they have a physical location of 1717 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, 10th floor, Suite 1025, Washington, D.C. They don't, the building basically is set up as kind of a rental place. There's a group called Tishman's Fair who also rents from that location. They rent out office space, basically. There's a company named ServCorp. They're kind of like an answering service. You can get a phone number through them. They'll answer the number or let it go to voicemail and send it to your cell phone. And LoopNet rents spaces at this address, and they rent the 10th floor. I've got a virtual tour of the 10th floor and some pictures of the 10th floor. It's small little cubicles, a couple conference rooms. You can rent out a conference room. You can rent out a cubicle. You can do meetings there, or you can rent the address and have a phone number set up. I believe in looking that that's what Ingersoll Lockwood has done here. I believe that more than likely, let's see if you can see this. I don't know how we can see it. I know this sucks, people, but I'm not tech savvy. That's an overview of the office space. Suite 1025, if you can see that in the upper corner. That sucks. That is a picture of the actual office space. Again, I went on their website. For the one company, you can get an address package, $129 a month. Get your address, become 1717 Pennsylvania Avenue near the White House to use on your letterheads, business cards, or business registration. The communication package, you can get a receptionist answers calls on your local number in your company name as specified. You can use they've got a couple. This is a couple of the company's big selling points. Our powerful address becomes your address to use on your cards, letterheads, and web pages. They do in fact own the address, not Ingersoll Lockwood, and that's not uncommon practice. A company's not going to come in and just buy a building just to be there. This is a large office building. Usually they'll rent out a floor or something of that nature. This kind of looks more like these companies are renting out a room, sometimes for a day or two, things like that. Interactive voicemail, press 1 to go to your mobile. So I called this number numerous times. So did the people at here at Chew Bubblegum. And understand, they do not in any way agree with this, or this is in no way related to them. I just met them through this, and I'm just wanting to give them credit for me knowing about this because of work they did to find out about this. But they called, I called, you leave a message, somebody contacted them back. I never got a receptionist, no matter what time of day I ever called. Voicemail to email. Use any of our 9 locations in the U.S., 150 plus locations around the globe. That's kind of how that works. So that was curious, especially after contacting. I got on a couple different sites to look for Ingersoll Lockwood. And in doing that, kind of went through and done any search I could find. Anything that I thought would help me legitimize this company or find out who and what they are. I went Better Business Bureau, checked. Ingersoll Lockwood LLC. That was the first step. And I understand not everybody's going to be on Better Business Bureau. They advertise themselves often as a defense contractor. And I thought, well, maybe that's why they're not on there. So then I looked for Lockheed Martin. Then I went and got a list of other big, and all of them popped up on Better Business Bureau, even though they may say, for instance, for cyber defense, it just says, sorry, nobody was found for that. But when I come across, say, Ingersoll Lockwood, it does. They're not judging them or taking ratings or whatever on them, but it does show them. So I thought maybe what I should do is try to find some type of government agency that can tell me this. So I did. Secretary of State in every state can tell you what companies are registered, whatever. I got on DC's, and the first thing it took me to was not part of Washington, DC's, but it was a national registry. Looked them up. Couldn't find them. Now, granted, it does state pretty plainly that this doesn't show every single business. The smaller businesses are hard to find, but they don't show up on this registry. Sent messages, accessing the Secretary of State, Washington, D.C. site. I got to log in, all that. I couldn't find a record of them. That's not to say I didn't do something wrong in the search, but any business that's registered in that city should pop up, and I can't get it to. And again, I could be doing something wrong. So this gets me curious. Physical site is not always, but generally just an address and a phone number package to make it look a little more important than it is. And I can't find any records on basically anything saying that they exist. So I start going through and looking at the companies. And let me break these links down for you. There's some. Okay. I'm sorry. There's tons and tons of this. The registry I couldn't find them on was National Corporation Directory. Couldn't find that. Couldn't find a Better Business Bureau. Lockheed Martin did show up and showed up on Better Business Bureau, just not accredited. This Cyber Defense Ventures, again, I couldn't find it on any of those places. Looked, it didn't work. So I looked into the DARPA funded anti-malware. I just start clicking links. Okay. That takes me to a company called Cythereal, Cythereal. Go to Cythereal, and I find an address, 537 Cajun Dome Boulevard, Lafayette, Louisiana. It's down the bottom corner, show their site. And a phone number, 504-335-1910. That's what it shows. And let me see if I can find this here. Contact Cythereal. And right there you go. There's your phone number. There's your office. Now, when I track this place down, I find it, but when I cross-reference it and look it up, the phone number and the address doesn't come back to Ingersoll Lockwood, and it doesn't come back to Cythereal, and it doesn't come back to anything of that nature. It comes back to Valmiki, Valmiki 504 LLC. And that comes back with same address, same phone number. Now, I don't know that this is not a mistake. No clue. But that's the only place on the internet where the address and phone number showed to be active, or when I searched it, that's what I popped up. And even when you Google search it and go in, I think it pops up a place, maybe Opportunity Machine, something like, I can't remember, but it pops up a food place as well. So I look into this Valmiki 504. It's a LLC, is a Louisiana subsidiary of Valmiki Capital Management LLC, a New York-based management firm with principal offices in New Orleans. Valmiki 504 acts as an investment manager for locally managed Valmiki funds and an operating partner for the Valmiki portfolio of companies in the Gulf Coast region. Valmiki 504 invests in early stage companies with substantial presence in food and technology. Investments are made through funds, incubators, or directly into the companies, and will assist in developing the startup ecosystem of Louisiana and the surrounding area. There's nothing sounds illegitimate about that company, and they are an investment company, but I thought we were DARPA funded. And that's not to say there's not been this huge mix-up online over these dates, over these addresses. I don't know. Valmiki 504 is New Orleans based. Valmiki Capital Management, the company that owns that, is a New York based asset management firm. I've got all their board of directors, not gonna, but I checked the number again. I'm going through all these different places, reverse lookups and everything, and I come up to something called NOLA Food Holdings. Now, when I come up with NOLA Food Holdings, this is the third place that has this phone number. NOLA, obviously, this is in New Orleans. I come up with NOLA Food Holdings, and I'm going through and looking at their website. NOLA Food Holdings, same phone number, references similar things to this. They have a web page that's got like 4 things on it. I don't who we are, what we do, donate, and 2 other pages. Who we are and what we do, filled out, works great. It's done. Donate, definitely done, but it definitely has a donate button. The other 2 links, not even finished. Not even remotely finished, actually. They've still got the holder place text from web development, but the donate button works. So looking at Cythereal, and I'm going to look into this more, DARPA funded anti-malware. I come back to this Valmiki Capital via this address and this phone number, and I find other fake sites or sites that are unfinished anyway, like in NOLA Food Holdings. I contacted a journalist in New Orleans and asked about this NOLA Food Holdings. I'm waiting on getting some information back on that. I don't know where all that's going to go. Now, I told you that when, and I've got to be open about everything. I want to be fair about everything. When I go into quantum encryption, I pop up to XSOC Corp. Okay. XSOC Corp, it shows in a lot of their links online and looking them up online and what type of company it is as a human resources and staffing company. They've got 2 addresses, 108 Wild Basin Road, South Suite 250, Austin, Texas. I can tell you that's owned by Executive Workspaces. Contacted them. 16400 Blake Parkway Suite, Irvine, California. Looked at both of these places up in they're legitimate office rental places. Don't know anything else about it. I mean, there's a lot of companies right there where the Irvine store is. My online bill is at 16,390 and they're at 16,400. There's other stuff there. Paytree, I think it is, or was it Polytee maybe is right there at 16,400 as well. That's what the name listed on that building, but it's very easily possible that there's multiple companies in it. But then that could be an old picture. I don't know. Um, Nothing on their site on going down that looks suspicious. They're not donating anything. They're selling. They've got two office spaces. I've not looked into any ratings, Better Business Bureau, or anything on them yet, but that's what I know about them so far. American Health Defenders. Now, remember when we were on this webpage, it was the first thing that pops up here. Man, this sucks. It's a horrible way to do this, and I'm very sorry. But anyway, it's right here. American Health Defenders. Now click on American Health Defenders. It's a donation site. And one of the things here is the hashtag fight back donation site. Defense fund to fight left wing journalists. I'm not left wing, so don't come after me because that's not who I am. I'm pretty moderate actually. I used to be a registered Republican. I don't mind saying that. I'm just not a QAnon guy, and I'm not a Trumper, and I'm pretty well moderate, and I'm a registered independent now. So you guys don't come after me. I'm not left wing. And there's also a state Bar of Georgia Defense Fund. A little trouble tracking that down, but a lot of this seems to link back to a lawyer who some people may have heard this name before, L. Lynn Wood. I don't know to what deal he has to do with that. Not looked into it that much yet. But remember, this is American Health Defenders. So I don't know. The email looked fishy to me, and I made a note of that. I'll look into that more. But what this fight back site and bar defense side, I don't know what that has to do with health, but that's what you're donating to, at least on this one link. That's what you're donating to in American Health Defenders. But they do have some other things you can go to. Takecareof.com. Tried to contact, it's all recorded. You're not getting a hold of anybody. I've tried and tried and tried. They sell supplements, vitamins that look like things of that nature. They get on there. Also, you've got America Frontline Doctors on there. I recommend you go check that out yourself. I'm not even touching that. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, and I'll tell you why when I'm done. This won't be the only one of these I ever do, more than likely. Okay. Now, also, if you look at this site in its current form, at the top, there's some little links you can click on. Okay. There's a professionals link. It goes to a job hire site, cyberdefenseprofessionals.com. It's just a random job generator locator. There's no Ingersoll Lockwood jobs even on it. I can put a link like that. In my opinion, that's what it is. I could put a link like that on any website, and it'll actually just take you to one of these large job forums and put it up. Now, there's an awards thing here for Cyber Defense Awards, Cyber Defense Magazine. All this Cyber Defense Awards, Cyber Defense Magazine, all this seems to be very legit, and I don't really see anything on it that's not legit. I mean, it is what it is. It's a magazine, and actually, when I was looking for some information on the company, I tried to find a lot of these things that were registered, weren't registered, things of that nature. That's about the only thing I found that was registered in any way, and I'm trying to find the actual file. I'll tell you what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to go over here and get in my documents on my computer here, and let's see here. Ba, 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 ba. Now, in regards to this Cyber Defense Awards deal, like I said, it's the one that seems to be legit, and everything I'm looking at on it, it is what it is. It's a magazine. They do reviews and stuff. This is an open database of the corporate world here. Stephen G. Samuels LLC. It's got his company number, blah, 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 for January 2012. Domestic limited liability company, Nevada, USA. Mail link. Gary S. Melfinsky, mail link. Let's see what we're looking at here. Recent filings for Stephen G. Samuels LLC, 3rd of January 2001 to, this is all of his annual filings. I don't need that, but here we go. Corporate grouping user, no. Cyber Defense Magazine. So this is registered to him. It all checks out and is what it is. It was fairly easy to find. No real problem with that. As far as that, goes, I really got nothing. Now I'm seeing files that I've pulled up on the computer and don't have written down or don't have printed out. On that Cithrel phone line, that number that is listed as being for that DARPA funded Cithrel, that phone number is registered in the city of New Orleans, zip code area 70113, 70141, 70125, and 70152. Somewhere in those zip code areas, county of Orleans, state of Louisiana, United States of America. Type regular landline. Local time is Central Time. Registrant company US LEC. Although the owner of this number hasn't registered on open caller listings, you may be able to find their name through our partner using the link below. That's kind of what I know about that. I'm going to pop this up because we're going to talk about it. Now, on that Valmiki management, which took us to NOLA Foods through all that, they've got basically a chain of command here where they top down. You've got Valmiki Capital Management, New York based, Valmiki 504, and that breaks down into Valmiki Value Partners, Valmiki Value Partners 2, Topic Site LA, Technology Incubator, Cirrus 504, Food Incubator, NOLA Food Holdings, Food and Farm Works, Real Food, Real Local, Cithrel, Scene Hound. I mean, they've got so many names. Biomedic Labs, Manoak, Alphabeta. Yeah, they've got, tons. Because if you click on these, this portfolio is huge. So they're definitely a large investment fund. And Cithrel pops up on this. I just don't know why we've got this one phone number and what it's got to do with supposedly DARPA funded research. I don't believe that's what it is. You get on these cyber defense awards. They do the Black Unicorn Award. It's for venture capitalist companies that are startups that reach 1 billion market value. The address to magazine B2C, which is another listing up there. It goes to what appears to me to be another rent by hour office in New York. I'm not exactly sure on that. I'm still looking into that. Let's look at the board members. Like I listed them earlier. The two guys that it was easiest to find anything out on, Al Fucino seems to be a great farmer. I don't think he was the one that was just listed as an American patriot. I don't think they want that out there, but that, I guess, maybe, I don't know. And I don't know that that's the same guy. That's just from what I dug up. That's the only person I could find. So that very well may not be that guy. No clue. The Oliver Velez, um, he works for a lot of different companies. GB Capital Markets. They're an investment banking company out of New Jersey. And this is all on his LinkedIn page. So this is claims that he has made, and these all say to present. Wendy Consultants or Consulting Marketing Company, New York. Ray Bloch Productions, New York. Seems like an event planning. He's not shown on the side as a member, but that's what it seems to be. And he may do something in the background, not part of the original founders or anything. EDU Network Partners, New York. Does kind of like marketing in school, getting certain items and stuff in school stuff. He's not listed on the Meet Our Team form. Spot Creative Incorporated, New York, marketing ads, things of that nature. It's the only people I've really been able to track down and verify their involvement to any real level for this have been marketing investment guys at Malicki. Now, I could be way off on all this. The problem is when I look at this website, nothing checks out. Nothing that I can get to check out. Can't contact anybody, can't get a hold of anybody. Call enough times, they'll call you back. The carbon capture shield thing, again, the GoFundMe was done by DJ Nicky. I've listened to interviews with him. I don't know if he's running this forum. That's what I hope to ask him. And maybe he can clear up some of this. Maybe it's not what it seems. He's done some movies. He done a show. I think it was 10 Days Abroad, Albania. He worked for Disney, done some stuff like that. I think he's the owner and operator of Canopedia. I've got a lot of stuff, but I really would like to talk to him before I kind of come out on any of that. I don't know. Am I way off base here? Am I missing something that, the reason I wanted to get this out is because this website changes a lot. And I've asked a lot of questions. I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of government agencies, a lot of private agencies that search and find things, a couple of reporters. I want to get it out before they give a chance to change it. And maybe they will change it by the time you hear this. I don't know. But if not, that's good. If they do, they do. I just wanted to get it out there and talk about it. I don't really need to go in to great detail on the whole Q thing. I mean, you either know what it is or you don't. Like I said, watch the documentary if you don't. Understand, I want to try to have these people on because they've agreed to do a podcast, but I'm not looking to ambush them. I don't think that's fair to do to anybody. I just want to ask them questions. And, I need to be clear with them that I don't support the things that they seem to believe in. But, maybe I could be misunderstanding what it is they actually believe in. Now, there's a countdown clock that was on there, and I haven't even got to touch that. But if you go back and listen to Here to Chew Bubblegum, they talked about that pretty extensively. And let me one more time say that because I'm good friends with these guys and I don't want to ruin a working relationship we have. I'm getting ready to go do a show with them again. Nothing I said have they expressed to me at all. They, up till this point, they don't feel this way. They've not seen all the stuff I've got. We've not discussed this as them feeling that way or thinking that way or having anything to do with that. They like the guest they've had on. He seems like a good guy. They like him. I'm not saying that they disagree with any of this, with it A, being a fraud, or B, that if it really is what it I think it is that they disagree with that. I'm not saying that, not speaking for them in any way, shape, or manner. I'm just honestly trying to get traffic to their site and to their show because it's a really good podcast, and give them some credit because I would not know about this if I had not talked about them. We just got two different things out of the website when we looked at it, but without them, I would not have got to see any of this. I would have known nothing about it. And I'm very thankful that they brought me on the show. And I've been very open about what I was doing to them, and I not trying to really hide anything from them. I wanted this to wait, and I wanted to be a slow build and talk to Mr. Hemphill first, and if possible, Mr. Nicky first, and see uh, if I could do it over time and do it a little more elegantly. But I've been contacted, and some things didn't feel right today as far as some communications that come through. And I look at the rate and speed at which they've been changing this website, and I wanted to get it out first. That simple. I wanted it to come out first before that all happened. So uh I've got a guest scheduled for tomorrow night. So yeah, I'm doing a lot more podcasts right now because things are happening, things are working. But tomorrow night's podcast will have nothing to do with this. But I wanted to get this out and get it done, and those are the reasons why. Look into this yourself. Tell me what you think. Send me your emails at talkjunkie@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at Talk Junkie. You can find us on YouTube at Talk Junkie. You can find us on, I always get confused, Instagram, author J. Perkins. Thank you all a lot. This was probably a really long one, but touch base with me. I've got a lot of people out there that I know lean pretty heavily left, and I have a lot of people out there I know lean pretty heavily right. I don't think this is a left and right thing. I think if this company is valid and they're taking up this many donations and this much money's coming in, if the Valmiki group is just handling those donations, fine. If they're investing in those things, fine. But there's a lot of moving parts there that aren't adding up to me. And I'm going to do another deep dive, look into this some more, and come back and see what else I can come up with. Don't suck and don't die, and be good to people.